Nobody could ever have doubted we were going to be as successful as we have been in the northwest of Ireland. We're not building Pramerica for us. We're building Pramerica for our families and for our families' families. We see this as a long-term initiative and a long-term project. Our goal is to have Pramerica in Letterkenny for a long, long time.
I think if you'd said to anybody that you'd set out an expectation and that you beat that expectation tenfold, they would be impressed. And that's what Pramerica ultimately has achieved.
The number one thing stays key to the Pramerica culture, and that is that people are genuinely happy in their work and want to do a really good job.
It was never before that I felt so much at home. So I'd like to call Pramerica and Letterkenny home away from home for myself and for my family. So.
We've been running Spirit of Community for 12 years now. I really enjoy being involved. It's lovely to see the impact that volunteering has in the community. It fills you with a sense of pride.
I'm quite passionate about Pramerica. It was a small organisation when I first joined it, what I see it's become today, and I genuinely think that it is a great place to work. It's great when you see people that you started with on the same day as you and they're still here, and then you can see their path in their career, and I get a lot of joy out of that, because I do think it's been something I've grown up here, like my badge, I look like a kid on it versus today.
It's definitely the people side of Pramerica, because I think a lot of us here have gone to local university and then we've moved in here to Pramerica, and we've continued that friendship through the years, and we've basically grown up together.
Enriched by community and heritage.
Deliver with excellence and pride.
Powered by talent and collaboration.
Lead through integrity and passion.
Innovate with agility and creativity.
Good afternoon and welcome to our 2020 Spirit of Community Awards. I am absolutely delighted to host today's event. As executive sponsor for Spirit of Community, it's wonderful to finally give our honorees the recognition they so deserve. It is my great pleasure to welcome you all to the 14th Annual Spirit of Community Awards. We had hoped to hold our event at the iconic Titanic in Belfast, but here we are in our Pramerica headquarters in Letterkenny, but delighted to have you all online. The past 6 months have been truly extraordinary. I hope that you and your family are safe and well and continue to be safe and well as we fight this pandemic together. I want to say a very special welcome to you, our 20 honorees who join us today. Before we kick off, we have a fantastic social media competition running for you, our 20 honorees, with an Echo Dot up for grabs. All you have to do is send in your most creative video or boomerang, use the hashtag PramericaSpirit2020 and tag us. Our viewers will also be able to share good luck messages to you, our honorees. So please send us your greetings and let us know you are watching. An ancient Greek storyteller once said, "No act of kindness, no matter how small, is ever wasted." No one is more cherished in this world than those who lighten the burden of another. And it is for this reason that we are here to honour you. Your genuine concern for others, your commitment to making this world a better place, the impact that you've had on your communities near and far. These things set you apart and make you the inspiring role models, not just for your peers, but for all of us. I'd like to welcome our guest speaker, Adam Harris. Adam is a young social entrepreneur, founder CEO of As I Am. As I Am is an organisation building in Ireland where every person with autism can live and succeed as they are. Truly empowering. You'll hear from Adam soon. We have our 2 All-Ireland Youth Volunteers of the Year from 2019, David Giles from County Cork and Keela Canning from County Derry. They're online with us with a few of our other alumni. So you're all very welcome and thank you for being here today. And on that note, we have a lovely video from our alumni.
Hello honorees of 2020 and congratulations on being recognised as some of Ireland's most outstanding young people.
I have been in your position as I was once named Top Youth Volunteer by the Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards.
Like you, I earned that title by working hard to make a difference in my local community and beyond. By sticking up for a cause I believe in, even when things got tough.
Did you know that the Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards has over 280 past honorees across the world? We have all taken our own paths since our days as honorees.
But what we have in common is a sense of purpose, to not only support those in need, but to leave our communities a little better than we found them. We have that in common with each other, and we have that in common with you.
On behalf of the alumni community, we want you to know that we are so impressed by your dedication, passion and strength.
We see your inspirational work and trust us, we know how hard it is to balance volunteering with school, clubs, sports, rehearsals, family and your social life.
But you continue to make it work. You continue to make it happen through your drive, your determination, your kindness, your sense of responsibility to look beyond yourself and help those in need.
It takes someone special to think of a way to help others and then to overcome all the obstacles in your way to make it happen. That's why we honour you today.
Although we won't get to meet you in person today, we are very proud to call you one of our own. Congratulations and the very best of luck from our homes to yours.
On behalf of alumni across Ireland and around the world, welcome to the Spirit of Community family and please keep up the amazing work. We are
the Spirit of Community.
The Spirit of Community.
The Spirit of Community.
Congratulations.
We have a few people who are strong advocates of Spirit of Community here today. Our Senior Managing Director and CIO, Kieran Harvey. Our educational partners, NAPD and GTC&I. We have some of our colleagues from Prudential Spirit of Community Awards who are online with us today. I want to acknowledge the role of parents. Parents and guardians are the most important role models that a young person can ever have. I'd like to acknowledge the schools for bringing these amazing young volunteers to our attention and for allowing us to recognise the tremendous work being done across the island of Ireland. Parents, guardians and teachers, I am sure you are very, very proud of our 20 honorees. At Pramerica, we believe in promoting a sense of community and active volunteering. As some of you know, we have lost 2 special people who were involved in Spirit of Community. Firstly, Lucia Queenie Mee, one of our 2017 All-Ireland Spirit of Community Youth Volunteers of the Year. Sadly, Lucia died in May this year, following her 4th liver transplant. just a few days short of what would have been her 21st birthday. Lucia was a very strong advocate for organ donation and was the embodiment of volunteerism in her short life. I'm sure Lucia's parents who are watching are very, very proud of her, and I know we've been very proud of her too, and will continue to be. More recently, John Hume died. John was involved in Spirit of Community from 2007 to 2014. He was the chairperson of our All-Ireland selection panel. John and his wife Pat were regular guests at our award ceremony and were most accommodating of their time. Both Lucia and John, each in their own way, made significant contributions in their communities. They have left lasting legacies, and I want to extend our deepest sympathies with the Queenie Mee and the Hume families at this time. May they both rest in peace. I would now like to introduce our Senior Managing Director and CIO, Kieran Harvey. Kieran has actively promoted building relationships with local schools, universities, youth in sport, and the charity sector, and supporting them all where and however we can. Corporate social responsibility has become an important part of who we are here at Pramerica under Kieran's tenure. It is actually part of our DNA. And I'd like to welcome Kieran to say a few words.
To all of our 2020 honorees, it's interesting when you think about it. We have 2020. So is it 2020 honorees or 2020 honorees? You're all very welcome. As you can tell, this is probably the coolest thing we do every year. It's the thing we're most excited about in our annual calendar, and it just means so much to us as an organisation. So I'm absolutely delighted to welcome everybody online, to welcome our 20 honorees and all our special guests to this event today. It really is an honour and a privilege to be able to have this Spirit of Community Awards. And as Naomi was saying, it's an integral part to who we are as an organisation and to our commitment to our civic responsibilities. You know, it really helps us to empower young volunteers by recognising the work that they do in their communities. 2020 has been one surreal year for us all. COVID-19 has ended or upended many things that we do. And the interesting thing for me is the whole world is going through this at the same time. I'd be on calls right around the world, and they usually start off with, how did your day or how did your morning go? And it's really fascinating that no matter what part of the world that you're in, we're really talking and dealing with the same things. As an organisation, we do have a number of interactions to the volunteering and the charity world, and that has really amazed me how the COVID-19 has impacted that side of the world, and in particular how creative and innovative a lot of the individuals involved in the charity environment and world has been so impressive. But then when I look to our 20 honorees and the things that you guys have all done over this time period, it really does put us in good stead for the future, and it really drives home the message that we're in good hands in our youth today, particularly when we take all the disruption that's come at us and how well you guys have handled this through the time. You really are an inspiring group of kids. So a big thank yous for what you are doing. But the community at large, it really talks about our resilience and how we're performing, how we're interacting. And even when I think in the spirit of community, and over the years, there's one thing that we have always wanted to do, and that was to get the entire organisation feel the energy and the excitement and what happens in this day. And here we are actually standing in the middle of our headquarters, as Naomi was saying. Now, unfortunately, our employees aren't here, and I would have loved the honorees to come in and feel the energy in this site and in this location. And this really talks about who we are, because it's a chance for you to see the energy that is in Letterkenny, and hopefully at some stage in the future would consider Pramerica and Letterkenny as a good option for a career, because the more people we can get into this organisation with the creative spirit you guys have, then the better it will all be for us for the future. In times of diversity, young people can be a bright light and demonstrated of creativity and ability. But that comes from your families, and as Naomi was saying, a big thank you to your parents. It also comes from your teachers that you interact with, that are your role models and helping you along your young careers. So from the bottom of my heart and from the bottom of Pramerica's heart, I want to thank your parents, and I want to thank your teachers, and I want to give a special thank you to our long-term partners in the NAPD and the GTCNI. You guys have been with us through all of this, and particularly this year as we had to reinvent how we do the spirit of community. To our 20 honorees, individually, each one of you should be so proud of what you have done and what you have achieved. I have an ask that you continue to do your great work, and that you go out and inspire other young people to get involved in volunteering. Today's event will shine some light on you guys and what you do, and your dedication to volunteering, and your spirit of the community. Please keep up the good work, and a big thank you for everything that you do. And before I hand over to Naomi, there's another group of people I want to thank, and that is the Spirit of Community Organising Committee, headed up by Naomi and Rosemary. This year we were obviously challenged as to how we were going to do this, and at one stage we weren't sure if it was going to happen, but through their creativity and the team's drive to make sure this happens, we are here today. And if we could turn the camera around to see the production that's going on here, I think you would all be very impressed indeed. So big thank you to Naomi and to Rosemary for everything you have done. And I'll hand you back to Naomi now. Thank you.
It is now time to introduce our 2020 Pramerica Spirit of Community finalists. Each one of you have received an engraved silver medallion and prize money of €500. I hope you don't have it all spent yet. So sit back and enjoy the class of 2020.
From Assumption Grammar School, County Down, Lydia Bellocci. Lydia's volunteering journey began at a local St Vincent de Paul charity shop, and she's since gone on to volunteer at a dementia ward in the Down Hospital, at the Holy Shrine of Knock in County Mayo, helping elderly pilgrims, and travelled to India to volunteer with Safara India. Congratulations on your award, Lydia Bellocci. From Sullivan Upper School, County Down, Sasha Barrett Ferris. Sasha's been volunteering with guides and scouts from an early age, teaching girls from deprived areas the essential skills needed for life and helping them to grow in confidence. Passionate about helping the homeless and poor, Sasha often volunteers at RSPB's annual Big Wild Sleepout in Oma and Cultra, and coaches at a disability hockey summer scheme for the past few years. Congratulations on your award, Sasha Barrett Ferris. From Ardscoil Charanofa, County Offaly, Gavin Bennett. Gavin participated in Swim for a Mile for the local Brosna Centre in order to give something back to a community which he's very proud to be part of. Gavin also volunteers in school fundraisers for charity regularly and enjoyed taking part in a fashion show in his school called This Is Me, in aid of autism awareness. Congratulations on your award, Gavin Bennett. From Our Lady and St Patrick's College, County Antrim, Gemma Campbell. Gemma has natural instincts to care for people and is a ward volunteer at the Ulster Hospital. Growing up with her sister with Turner syndrome and with 3 members of her family diagnosed with ASD, she currently volunteers with Helping Hands Autism Charity and Turner Syndrome Support Society to raise awareness. Gemma has also volunteered and taken part in cross-community work in the US with the Ulster Project. Congratulations on your award, Gemma Campbell. From Castleknock Community College, County Dublin, Rebecca Colley. As a volunteer with Special Olympics, Rebecca coaches a team of 18 individuals of all ages in swimming with the aim of improving their confidence, communication and integration skills. Rebecca has also shown great dedication to volunteering by travelling to Kolkata to work in homes for people with intellectual disabilities with Be Kind Ireland. Congratulations on your award, Rebecca Colley. From Skibbereen Community School, County Cork, Jessica Collins. As a passionate animal lover, Jessica went to China for 5 weeks and volunteered at the Slaughterhouse Survivors Harbin Animal Rescue, looking after ill and unwanted dogs and cats, which encouraged her to come back to Ireland and raise awareness of the cruelty that these animals were facing there. Congratulations on your award, Jessica Collins. From Loretto College, County Derry, Ciara Cullerton. Ciara volunteers with cross-community programme Spark and is a key member of this initiative which focuses on celebrating people's similarities rather than their differences. Ciara doesn't let her diagnosis of scoliosis stop her doing the things she loves and attends the Michaela Foundation camps each year, which promotes and encourages positive values. She also visits the elderly in a local care home. Congratulations on your award, Ciara Cullerton. From Beach Hill College, County Monaghan, Jamie Duffy. Jamie is extremely passionate about the community and environment in which he lives, and has been involved in organising and partaking in numerous activities in his role as chairperson of the Glasgow Junior Tidy Towns Committee. As leader and founder of Junior Tidy Towns, Jamie firmly believes in the importance of promoting greener living in our society. He regularly gives complimentary walking heritage tours in his village and trains younger people as part of the Greener Glasgow campaign. Congratulations on your award, Jamie Duffy. From Our Lady's School, County Dublin, Charlotte Gallagher. Charlotte was diagnosed with leukemia at age 10 and became the youngest member and volunteer of the Sarah Jennifer Knott Foundation. After a close friend of Charlotte's passed away with cancer of unknown primary, this foundation was set up to raise awareness and pay for research. Charlotte has been working relentlessly to spread the word about CUP amongst her peers and school friends, as well as actively fundraising for the foundation. Congratulations on your award, Charlotte Gallagher. From Loretto Grammar School, County Tyrone, Lauren Gaynor. Lauren's been volunteering from an early age and was chosen by her school to participate in an exchange programme and subsequently volunteered in a Washington soup kitchen that helped feed and provide shelter for the homeless people in the city. Lauren also visited Cambodia on a 4-week expedition and took part in volunteering activities that made a positive impact on some of the poorest families in the local village. Congratulations on your award, Lauren Gaynor.
Okay, so now we're going to get an update from Rosemary on our social media messages.
Hi everybody. We were getting a really good response on social media at the present time, and I know some of our alumni and some of our honorees have already submitted. We have a message that's come from Clive Byrne, the Director of NAPD, and Clive is wishing us all the best of luck with today's event, so thanks Clive. We've also comment here from Mary, who is one of the Spirit of Community Committee, and she's wishing the best of luck to all the 2020 honorees, and just to say that we're all very proud of your volunteering achievements. And finally, we have a greeting here from Andrea, who says good luck to everyone involved and well done to all the nominees. Fantastic work going on throughout the country.
Lovely, that's fantastic. Thank you, Rose. So now here's the remaining honorees from our 2020 Spirit of Community Awards.
From St Angela's College, County Cork, Liadh Hanley. Liadh has been volunteering since transition year in Roots Coffee House and has written and published a children's book about disabilities. Fundraising for many charities including the Hope Foundation, the Cork Simon Community and Pieta House, Liadh has a true passion for helping those in need and travelled to Calcutta with the Hope Foundation's immersion programme. Congratulations on your award, Liadh Hanley. From Carrickfergus Grammar School, County Antrim, Rebecca Irvine. Rebecca has a passion for medicine and helping others. She began to volunteer with St John's Ambulance Cadets and in 2019 travelled with Habitat for Humanity to Romania for 10 days as part of a youth build to help construct an educational community centre. Rebecca has also independently travelled to Ghana, volunteering in Cape Coast Teaching Hospital, a primary school and an orphanage. Congratulations on your award, Rebecca Irvine. From Ross's Community School, County Donegal, Gráinne McGlynn. Gráinne is passionate about trying to better her community. As part of the Donegal Youth Council, Gráinne gives up much of her free time to deal with issues in a local area, including drugs and alcohol usage amongst young people. An active volunteer, Gráinne has worked to promote Donegal road safety, volunteers at the Angel Day Centre, working with young people with learning disabilities, and coaches young girls at a local GAA club. Congratulations on your award, Gráinne McGlynn. From Borrisokane Community College, County Tipperary, Julie Redan. Julie volunteered with Habitat for Humanity in Romania for a week and worked in local towns and villages building houses for those in need. Every year, Julie volunteers with Team Hope and works in their warehouse sorting pre-filled shoe boxes, making sure those less fortunate have the essentials. Julie has also fundraised and skydived for youth suicide prevention in Ireland. Congratulations on your award, Julie Redden. From Larkin Community College, County Dublin, Jake Redmond. Jake is a dedicated peer educator with Jigsaw Youth Mental Health Service, helping teenagers between the ages of 12 to 19 years with their mental health difficulties. For several years, he's taken part in events to raise awareness and funds for charities such as Pieta House, Localise and the Peter McVerry Trust. A member of an advisory group for a government-led citizens' assembly on the reform of education, Jake worked with educators and policymakers to give young people a voice. Congratulations on your award, Jake Redmond. From Ballycastle High School, County Antrim, Aurora Ridio. Aurora dresses up as famous characters, visiting sick children as well as attending larger events and local fundraisers. After meeting two amazing young children who have a terminal illness called vanishing white matter, Aurora wanted to dedicate her time to raise money to further fund research and in some way try to make a difference. Congratulations on your award, Aurora Ridio. From St Louis Community School, County Mayo, Sophie Shalley. Sophie was left with life-changing burns across her face, hands and scalp following an accident at home when she was 7 months old. Sophie finds the strength to stay positive and uses her musical talents to give back to the community and recently created a CD with her mother which helped raise €10,000 for the Kevin Bell Repatriation Trust. She also sells calendars annually in aid of dogs for the disabled. Congratulations on your award, Sophie Shalley. From St Louise's Comprehensive College, County Antrim, Aaron Smith. Aaron began struggling with his own mental health after his friend tragically took his own life in 2016. Aaron turned to volunteering for help and joined a cross-community programme uniting community's young leaders. An avid volunteer, Aaron's been delivering workshops to young people aged 11 to 16, working with several organisations like Todd's Leap. Aaron is also vice chair of his local youth forum, Roots, which allows young people to voice their concerns to members of the NI Assembly. Congratulations on your award, Aaron Smith. From St Louis Grammar School, County Antrim, Emma Smith. Emma has been volunteering within her local community and beyond since her brother was sadly diagnosed with cancer. Emma has helped to raise funds for charities such as Cancer Fund for Children. She also volunteered in Ghana for 2 weeks, working in a local village school and hospital, and successfully fundraised £1,800 for the local village in order to improve living conditions. Congratulations on your award, Emma Smith. From Newtown School, County Waterford, Tegan Stanley. Tegan first began volunteering when she was 9 years old with the Irish Girl Guides and went on to expand her volunteering horizon. Extremely passionate about raising mental health awareness, Tegan developed a mental health support system to offer a support network to vulnerable students and was selected to be part of the Irish National Contingent and had the opportunity to travel to India as part of a leadership and community action programme. Congratulations on your award, Tegan Stanley.
So now we're going to have a few more social media messages from Rose. Great, Rose, if you can.
Hi, yeah, we've more messages coming in here over the streaming site. Message here from Rihanna, who's one of our Pramerica employees. She says, what a lineup. Congratulations to you all. You're all an inspiration. We have a message from Deirdre as well, who's a Pramerica employee. Deirdre says, the best of luck, everyone. You're all amazing. We've also a message here from Noel, who's a Pramerica employee. Very impressive group of kids and their achievements. Good luck to everyone and well done. We also have a message here from Marie Boner, who says, good luck everyone, you're all winners no matter what. We have a message from Bennett, who is one of our junior honorees from last year. And Bennett says, best of luck everyone. You should be all so proud of your work that you've done. You're all inspirational and delighted to be able to share the event virtually. And finally, we have a message from the President of the Teachers Union of Ireland, Martin Marjoram, and he says, congratulations to the honorees and to all involved. You're an inspiration. Well done.
Thank you, Rose. So I'm sure you'll all agree that by shining a spotlight on these young people, a loud message is sent everywhere that volunteering is important, volunteering is rewarding, and it truly does make a difference. Congratulations to all of our 20 honorees. We are blessed to have two wonderful educational partners. We'll first have a few words from Brendan from GTC&I.
It gives me great pleasure to speak to you all on behalf of the General Teaching Council for Northern Ireland. We're indeed living through strange and difficult times, and you as young people have faced unique and unexpected circumstances. The lockdown of schools over recent months has presented us all with many challenges, and hopefully, going forward, schools will be able to remain open and provide pupils, teachers, parents, and the wider community with assurances that our children's and young people's education can get back to a degree of normality. The COVID-19 crisis has brought many things into sharp focus, including the importance of friendship and community. In many ways, community and the spirit of looking out for each other has been one of the enduring features of recent months. Indeed, in many ways, there's been a renewing of spirit of community, which, unfortunately, was somewhat lost in recent years with an ever-pervading culture of self-interest. Your achievements, which we recognise and celebrate today, are in many ways countercultural, in that you have exhibited a profound sense of active citizenship and a deep understanding of the importance of the spirit of community. In doing so, you have challenged the prevailing ideology of individualism and winner takes all. Your volunteering has also demonstrated a profound understanding of social justice in action. Society throughout Ireland has a lot to learn from you. Your parents and schools are rightly proud of you. You're all winners, as indeed are all the young people who were considered for these awards. As a serving teacher, I can also say I'm very proud of my fellow teachers in your schools who, through their hard work and professionalism, have made such a positive impact in your development and helping you mature into very admirable young adults. With young adults like you, Ireland is indeed fortunate that our country is in safe hands. Congratulations to each and every one of you.
And now we have Alan to say a few words from NAPD.
So hello and thank you, and I'm delighted to be speaking to you. NAPD is a proud sponsor of the Spirit of Community Awards, which this year recognises 20 students from across the island of Ireland for their volunteer work in their communities. From reading through the biographies outlined in the booklet last night, as I prepared for today's address, I was struck by the strong sense of place and community in each volunteer's biography, and in particular the motivations given for volunteering by each student. The commitment and dedication shown by each of the 20 volunteers is simply inspirational, and you can all be so proud of everything that you have done. I often speak to the students in my school about legacy, that sense of honouring those that have gone before and honouring those that are yet to come through the school by what you do today. And I want you to know that you have left a lasting legacy, not just in your own communities and the different groups you've volunteered for, but that you have honoured those that have come before you, and more importantly, you have set a standard and are exceptional role models for those that will come after you. The past few months have been extremely challenging for us all, but what I've seen right around our island is communities coming together, working for each other, helping one another, caring for each other in one of the most challenging times for our society as a whole. And I have no doubt that you have inspired people in your communities, and you have played a significant role in this over the past few months. What you do in your communities, I have no doubt, have a lasting impact on your schools also. And it is young people like you who are the shining lights of our schools. It is young people like you who live out the values in our schools on a daily basis. It's one thing to see a vision and mission statements up on walls of our schools, but they're truly lived out by what you do every day in our schools. Since its inception in 2006, John Hume was an avid promoter of the Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards. And I read recently the transcript of an interview he gave to the Academy of Achievement in Washington, DC, where he spoke of his time after finishing college before he entered politics, where he stated that he thought he had a duty to help those that weren't as lucky as he was. He got involved in the foundation of the credit union movement in Derry, and a short while later became the youngest ever president of the Irish League of Credit Unions at the age of 27. And it was this involvement in this community-based organisation which he once said that, of all the things I've been doing, it's the thing I'm most proudest of. And this was from a Nobel Prize winner. So you, like him, should be extremely proud of what you're continuing to do in your communities. And I have no doubt that I will hear your names in the years to come. Finally, I would like to thank Pramerica for its continued support and organisation of these annual awards to recognise young people like you. So finally, again, congratulations and thank you for all that you've done.
So thank you, Brendan, and thank you, Alan, and thank you to your organisations for your unwavering support over the last 14 years. I would like to call out one individual that really struck a chord with me yesterday during the session, Gavin Bennett. And Gavin his story talks about how he, put himself out there. And he talks about this is me. Well, here I am hosting this competition, and I did not think that I could actually do this. Cameramen, no offence, but I'm petrified of cameras, never mind speaking in front of people. But I very soon realised that it's actually not about me. It's not about me standing here. It's about you, our honorees. And the joy that you bring other people, the difference that you make in the communities. And I am so proud of each and every one of you. So now I'd like to introduce our guest speaker, Adam.
Hi there, everybody. It's an absolute privilege for me to be here today and to have an opportunity to talk to you. Over the last year, I've had the privilege of beginning to work quite closely with Pramerica, and I know it's an organisation that is so committed to supporting communities across Ireland and also very committed to inclusion, which of course is something very close to my own heart. And you know, I was thinking back as I prepared for it this morning. It's only a few short months ago when I was up with you in Donegal, and we had, I think, 200 or 300 people packed into an event. And little did we know at that stage that the words of 2020 were going to be, you know, you're on mute, that the fashion accessory of 2020 was going to be a face mask. And then instead of events, we were going to be stuck at having webinars. But it's been great to be able to work with you during this period and highlighting things that remain important, such as autism inclusion and indeed community participation. Because, you know, I think it's very easy for us at the moment during COVID-19, during probably the most challenging year any of us have had in our lives to date, to drop the ball on issues that are really important. And I'm so delighted that even though we'd all love to be in the Titanic Centre today, celebrating in person the amazing achievements of these honorees, I'm so glad that Pramerica hasn't dropped the ball in this event and that we've still had an opportunity to come together and celebrate what is such a phenomenal achievement by each and every one of you. And I think this is important, and I think it's timely as an event because, you know, over recent months, all too often what we've heard is that, you know, during the COVID-19 pandemic, that young people didn't understand, that young people weren't doing enough to keep their communities safe, that young people were maybe, for example, behaving selfishly. And I've known that that isn't the case because I see the impact of young people who are involved in our own organisation and who really are the backbone of communities across the country. So just as I think Pramerica hasn't dropped the ball in having this event and highlighting what is the amazing work that you do, I think it's also very important that we recognise that each and every one of you haven't dropped the ball either. You know, I spent some time earlier today reading each and every one of your bios on the Spirit of Service website and learning about some of the amazing work that you do in just about every sector of the community. And two things really struck me is that if that was what you were doing prior to COVID-19, I've no doubt that the efforts you've been making in your own community have been really indispensable at this very challenging time for vulnerable communities in particular. As well as that, though, I think, you know, there's an awful lot of negativity at the moment. And I think what we're learning more and more is how little we are in control and how sometimes challenges can just really come in and supersede all the plans and all the ambitions and all the goals that we might have had in our year. And I think anybody who's in school at the moment and probably missed out on several months of school last year will know what that means. But there's a great quote that I always like, and that it's better to light a candle than to curse the darkness. And I think in reading your profiles and seeing the work that you do, it's very clear that each of you in your own community are people who light candles and make a difference in people's lives instead of just complaining and focusing on all the negatives. You're the people who address those challenges and remove them and make your communities a better place in the process. Now, I have to say, in getting ready for today's event, there was kind of a cold beads of sweat rolling down my back because, you know, I'm only 25, but it's only a few years ago I used to be invited to events like this to talk about my work that I was trying to do in the community. So all of a sudden, it's very scary that I'm now actually old enough to be speaking at one of these events as opposed to be participating in it. So I hope that even though I'm a few years older, that my story and the work that I do will still resonate with you. And what I'm really looking forward to more than anything is our chance at the end to have a questions and answers session, because I've enjoyed learning about your work. And I really hope that in sharing some of my experiences that it can help that work further, just as I know hearing more from you will inform the work that I do on the ground as well. I guess what I wanted to also say is that today is a really fantastic opportunity for us to celebrate you and each and every one of your achievements. But I think what's also important for us to recognize is you guys aren't actually the real winners of today. The real winners are the communities that you have been serving on the ground over the last year and indeed number of years. So really today is a chance for us to say thank you to you for making winners of so many people who need your support right across the island of Ireland. I just wanted to maybe take a moment to introduce myself and to explain, I guess, maybe why I'm talking to you here today and how I decided to get involved in community work and how my involvement in community work is ultimately what has shaped my career and my life to date. So my mother always says about me that I never do anything until I'm ready, and then I do it very quickly. And that started at birth because I was 20 days overdue, and then I was born in 25 minutes. And I was a very big baby when I was born, so I was 9.5 pounds. I was this massive blob, as my sister tells me. And the reason that's relevant to the story is from the moment I was born, my mother couldn't put me out of her arms for 2 seconds without me getting extremely distressed and agitated and upset. And of course, at first, people just put this down to somebody being a difficult baby or a baby that didn't need much sleep. But over time, it became obvious that I was quite different to my peers. Indeed, I didn't need to sleep or didn't sleep in my own bed very much until I was 7 years old. I had sentences by my first birthday. So by my first birthday, I was born in November in 1994. And by my first birthday, I was able to say, Santa, bring me car. But the way I understood language might be a little bit like how if you guys speak French or German or Spanish in school, I would get quite confused about it. And I really only understood words exactly as they were written down or exactly as they were spoken. I wasn't able to crawl when I should have been able to walk. And even though I liked to talk, I would talk and talk and talk about things that I was interested in, but only things that I was interested in. Now, to put this in context, when I started preschool, the thing that I was most interested in the world was ancient Egypt. But the problem was there wasn't too many other 4-year-olds who were interested in ancient Egypt. So it was very hard for me to make friends or to engage with other people my own age. The way my sensory system developed was a bit different to other people. So that meant that, you know, going to play school, going out for a dinner with my family, going to a family occasion or a holiday was really stressful for me because all the noises in the room would hit me at once. The smells in the room. If there was too many people at once, I wasn't able to cope because I was getting too much information at once. And over time, these differences became more and more obvious. And my mom began to wonder why I was experiencing things so much different to other people. And ultimately, I was diagnosed with Asperger's syndrome, which is a condition on the autism spectrum. And, you know, one of the things I was very moved by as I read your bios here this morning was how many of you are working indeed with autistic people, are raising awareness of autism and indeed are supporting people with disabilities more generally. Because I suppose at the time when I received a diagnosis, there wasn't the level of awareness that there is now. Indeed, the majority of autistic people didn't go to their local school or to mainstream school. So I spent the first 3 years of my education in a special school far away from my local community. Had a lot of positive experiences there. And by the time I was 8, I was able to move to my local school and I had a special needs assistant there for 5 years. And then I went to secondary school independently. And it was when I was a teenager, I decided that a lot of the challenges and barriers I had experienced growing up didn't actually come from the fact that I was on the autism spectrum. They came from the fact that other people didn't understand what that meant. So I can't tell you how many times when I was maybe your age, I would avoid telling people that I was on the spectrum because I noticed that if you did, you'd see nearly a look of panic in people's eyes because they really want to do the right thing. They really want to be inclusive, but they'd no idea what that was. And, you know, sometimes you maybe would notice people talking a little bit slower to you. Or sometimes people do what my dad does if we go on holidays and speaking a little bit louder to you in case you weren't able to hear it. And this wasn't to be rude or disrespectful. It was because we maybe tried to become inclusive. We maybe became a little bit more aware of people who are different, but maybe we didn't do enough as communities to actually educate people about what that meant. And I was very conscious that I had been very lucky that my parents, when I was born and I was diagnosed, wouldn't have foreseen a situation where I was able to attend school independently or indeed that where I would make friends and live an independent life. And I decided as a result that I wanted to do something to give back to the autism community and to give back to the community more generally. And when I was 18 years old, I set up a charity called As I Am, which over time has grown to become Ireland's national autism charity. And our mission is to try and build an autism-friendly Ireland. And what does that look like? It's an Ireland where every autistic person is valued and respected and accepted as they are and has an opportunity to participate in their local community. But, you know, needless to say, it's not just a case that you get out of bed when you're 18 and you decide, I'm going to set up an autism charity. That sounds like a fun thing to do today. Really how that came about was from over time getting involved in my community. And I think just as all of you on the call will know that you get so much more out of what you put in to volunteering and to supporting people within your community. So, you know, from the time I was about 15 or 16, I was getting involved in a variety of different things. I volunteered with the St. Vincent de Paul in a local charity shop, having experienced a suicide in the school that I attended. I got involved in suicide prevention work and developing an app to try and support people who were experiencing mental health crisis. I've always been passionate about human rights and equality. And when I was 16, I set up a local branch of Amnesty International in my hometown and got involved in the fair trade movement. And what all of these things did, well, to be honest, quite a number of things, because for me as an autistic person, first and foremost, they actually gave me an opportunity to get to know other people in a structured way instead of that very kind of confusing way that most people socialize and make friends. But also what it did was it fundamentally taught me the skills that I need to be able to do my job today. So whether that's working with other people, planning projects, securing funding, fundraising, and by God, we do a lot of that in As I Am. And from reading the efforts you guys have been doing across the country, I think each of you could probably give us some advice in terms of how good and effective you are as fundraisers. All of those are skills that I learned from my time in volunteering, and they've formed and helped me to be able to do the work that I have done today that I'm so passionate about and enjoy so much. And, you know, one of the things that I do want to recognize is critical to me in learning these skills and getting involved in volunteerism was both definitely the influence of my family, but also the support of my school in encouraging me to get involved in things, and also in giving the time and the space within the academic calendar to do that. And I think I want to recognize each and every one of your schools for supporting you here today, and also to encourage them to continue to support this sort of work, because there's no doubt you learn as much being involved in initiatives and programs like this, if not more, than in the formal curriculum itself. But, you know, from being involved in community work, one of the things that I learned, and I've no doubt that you will learn or have learned in your own time as well, is that fundamentally all change is local. So even though I'm sure everybody on this call has a big idea about how they'd like to change Ireland, or has a big idea around maybe how they'd like to change the world, I see so many of you involved in human rights work and in development work. Really, all of the issues that we're talking about start on our own doorstep, whether it's people who are isolated, people who don't have the resources they need to provide for themselves, people who aren't understood and accepted within their community. All of these issues start really small within our own communities. And when we begin to affect change there, we hopefully bring about change and we stop small issues becoming big global issues. But also as individuals, we learn how we can change these trends more generally within our society and across the world. One of the things that I was very interested in was when I was reading through the website earlier on today, and I was looking at the different activities and endeavours that you're involved in. And, you know, there was a huge list. So I counted mental health, politics, medical research, fundraising, disability, drugs and alcohol misuse prevention, homelessness, climate action, international development, community care. What's really interesting about all these issues is they're all very different, but in actual fact, how similar they all are, and how I hope that each of you get an opportunity maybe in the coming months to get to know each other and the work you do and exchange ideas, because while all of these issues are different social issues, they are also all connected. And I just wanted to really encourage you in a few different points in this direction. One of the first things is probably the greatest, I think, challenge we sometimes have within society when we see something that we'd like to change in our own community, or when we see something that we wish was different. Often our starting point is to say, somebody should do something about that, or the government should do something about that, or that's not fair that that's that way. But what each of you have demonstrated in getting here today and receiving this recognition is that you aren't people who naturally do that. You're people who say, I don't like something, or I don't think something's right and I'd like to improve it, and I'm going to be part of that solution. And the reason that I set up As I Am was in the area of autism, for example. Often the focus was on how national policy needed to change, how we needed more research to understand autism better. And both of those two things are completely true. But when I actually spoke to autistic people, the challenges that they were sharing with me, I feel I'm being bullied in school. I find it hard to make friends. The environment in my local town is too overwhelming. I'm not able to do the same activities that other people do. I really, really want to do a particular subject in college, but I'm not sure if I'll manage moving into college. All of those are changes that actually we as the general public control. It's to do with how we set things up. It's to do with how we communicate each other, and it's to do with how we treat each other. So each and every one of us has a huge amount of power to bring about change. And what I think is really important is that we should, never wait around for somebody else to do what we feel needs to be done. And second of all, never to let you yourself be told that a vision or a plan or an idea you have seems crazy. Because it's very easy sometimes for older people to think that we have all the solutions, and that, you know, you probably just don't understand why things are the way they are. But in actual fact, very often, if you're standing a couple of steps back and you can see that something could be done better in your own community. Don't take no for an answer and have faith in yourself. You know, one of the things that I'm most passionate about is building inclusive communities. And if you want to look at the As I Am website, you'll see just some of the different ways that we do that. We look at communities in a wide variety of ways. So whether that's a university community, where in Dublin City University, we supported it to become the world's first autism-friendly university, whether that's a school, and presently we're working with 100 schools around Ireland to help them become more autism-friendly for their students, or whether that's a town, and we have a great partnership with SuperValue, and 2 years ago, we supported Clonakilty in becoming the first town in Ireland that's autism-friendly. So 100 organisations in the town, all having training in how to communicate with autistic people, how to understand autistic people better, making little changes to how things work so the environment was more accessible. And we're now rolling that out to 8 towns across Ireland. What's really interesting is in all of these different areas, we're talking about inclusion. And in all of the different areas you work, even though they are different areas, they are all fundamentally about how can we build inclusive communities. And building inclusive communities is really so important, because what it's about is building communities in which everyone can participate, in which everyone's treated equally, and in which we can all live longer, healthier and happy lives. And what I think is really positive for the future in terms of your generation is we know that there's never been a generation before yours that's more committed to inclusion, that celebrates difference more, or that has a bigger and bolder vision for how we can change the world. And whether that's people like Greta Thunberg leading the Friday strikes from school, whether that's the commitment to variety as a forms of diversity, even in, for example, we know that now 1 in 3 people of your age group have a friend who is on the autism spectrum. So that commitment to inclusion is so, so valuable. It's better for everybody, and it's something that we all need to cling on to. But just in closing, why does all of this actually matter? Why is this so important, the work that you do? I think, as I alluded to at the start of the talk, I think we've learned in recent times that there's an awful lot that we can't decide. None of us were able to decide if COVID-19 came into our communities or not. But what we've all been able to decide is how we respond to it. And that's what's really, really important. And in each of your work, what you've shown is that when you see people in difficulty, when you see aspects of your community that can be improved, you respond to that in a positive way and you work to bring it about. I think what COVID-19 has shown us is just how important our communities are, because it's shown us how vulnerable in a sense we all are, but at the same time, how strong we all are when we work together. It's shown us how important it is to be understanding of people in the community who may have different needs to our own, and ensuring we know how to meet those needs, especially in difficult times. And it also has challenged us to say, what are really our priorities in our communities and how can we bring them about? It's shown us that often to do the things we want to do, we need to be creative. And in each of your work, you've shown us how we can approach these issues differently. So in concluding, I just wanted to say, close with this quote, that today is a brilliant opportunity for us to celebrate your work. But this is not the end. It's not even the beginning of the end, but it isn't perhaps the end of the beginning. So congratulations all again. And I'm really looking forward to taking your questions.
Thank you, Adam. You're a true inspiration to all of us. So we're going to open up the floor for questions. So you can send your questions via the streaming site. And our honorees, if you want to raise your hand in Zoom, we will ask your question on your behalf. To start us off, Adam, what advice would you give someone who wants to volunteer, but they just don't have the confidence to put themselves forward?
I think that can be really nerve-wracking. And I think one of the things that's important to realise is volunteerism doesn't always have to mean that you're out there working with other people. So, you know, maybe when we think about volunteering, we think about something like working in a charity shop and we say, oh my God, I'd be so embarrassed, or I feel really nervous having to talk to customers. But volunteering comes in lots of different forms. You know, some local groups and charities might even be looking for somebody to help with their website or to help them set up social media, for example. So if you're unsure how to get involved, I'd encourage you maybe to talk to your school, and they might know of local groups you can get involved in, or maybe there's activities you can get involved in your school. I know in the Republic of Ireland, one of the great services we have is our local volunteer centre, and going and talking to them and explaining what you're good at, what you like, what you dislike, you can be guaranteed they'll help you find a volunteering opportunity that will work for you. And I think the other thing is to say, I think often we have this embarrassment about thinking, oh, would people be annoyed that I offer? Would people think I'm really full of myself that I can help? But in actual fact, you'll find, particularly at the moment, charities and groups really, really want your support.
Okay, we have a question from Rebecca.
Hi.
Hi.
Hi, Adam. I was just wondering, what challenges have the autism community and their families and carers been faced with during COVID-19?
Yeah, that's a great question, because one of the things we're trying to highlight is that actually the autism community needs more help than ever. And just as we're maybe thinking about people in our community who might be older, who might be sick, definitely the autism community is one to have on the list as well. Autistic people really need structure and routine in our day-to-day lives. And obviously what we've seen for the last number of months is the complete removal of that. Coupled with that, a lot of the supports autistic people get, so maybe it's having an SNA in school or a classroom assistant, maybe it's going to different types of therapies during the course of the year. A lot of those have been stopped during the period, and that's been really difficult for people to manage. And the other thing is the rules keep changing, and it's hard enough to get your head around one set of rules, but then they change again. One of the things we've been doing is explaining to people about how some of the different guidelines that are in place, autistic people might have to manage differently. So not every autistic person is able to wear a face mask because of the feel of it. And not every autistic person has a good understanding of personal space. So it's just about, if we see somebody in the community and they're not doing maybe what we think most people should be at the moment, to be aware that there could be a reason to that before we jump to conclusions.
We have another question from Sasha.
Hi, Sasha.
I really enjoyed hearing from you there. I have a sister with Asperger's, so a lot of that sounds quite familiar. My question for you is just, do you think people have become more understanding of autism in recent years, and do you think that'll improve in the coming years?
That's a brilliant question. So we actually last year did a big survey of 1,000 people, like a poll, a professional poll, a representative sample of the population, 1,000 people. And what it showed us is people are definitely more aware. When I was a young child, if mom said the word Asperger's, a lot of people would have looked at her blankly. We're now at a situation where 1 in 65 children in school has a diagnosis, and think about it, we all know a lot more than 65 people. So if we can point to someone in our own community now, we tend to know about somebody like Greta Thunberg or Daryl Hannah or for example, somebody like Anthony Hopkins. There's a long list of people. But I think where the gap is a difference between being aware of something and understanding something. So I'm aware that Mandarin is a language, but I don't understand it. So I'm not much use to anyone who only speaks Mandarin. And in the same way, I think we have gotten better, but a lot of people still don't really know what the word autism means, but would like to. And the other thing we've seen is people maybe are a little bit more, I suppose, aware now, but they maybe sometimes think they're more aware than they are. So what we have found is that the public can sometimes feel, oh, we know a lot. But when we ask people in communities, do you feel understood? Often the answer is no. So there's still a lot of work to do. But the really positive thing is people say my age, your age. We've gone to school, obviously, as autistic people and non-autistic people together. And what we're finding is that the generation that's growing up now has a much more inclusive attitude and is much more aware. So hopefully that'll have a big impact over time.
And now we have a question from Lydia.
Hi, Lydia.
Hi, Adam. I just wanted to know what's next for you and your charity, As I Am.
Oh, thank you very much. Yeah, it's been very busy over the last few months. You know, we've been doing a lot of work that we would have never planned at the start of the year, just trying to meet a really urgent need from the community. So we've been just doing a lot of work around helping autistic students back to school in particular, because that's been a challenging few weeks for everybody. But one of the things we are doing at the moment that's exciting is that project I mentioned in Clonakilty. We're now rolling that out to 10 other towns across Ireland. And we're hoping over time that it'll become the norm for every town in the country to be autism friendly. So that's something that we're very excited about at the moment.
Okay, and now we have a question that has come in from Aaron Smith as well, please.
Hi, I was just asking, what basic things could you do to help make an autistic person feel more comfortable in society?
That's a really brilliant question, and it's a question that I could talk about all day. But I think if I was to say 3 things, if we all did 3 things that would instantly make things a lot better for autistic people, it would be to communicate clearly. And that's very hard for those of us born in Ireland, because very often whatever we mean, we say the opposite, or we're so polite, we don't actually say what we mean and people get confused. So speaking clearly and saying what you mean, being patient and realizing it might take a little bit longer for autistic people to understand the social situation, or things that are obvious to you may not be obvious to the person. So explaining as you go. And the third thing is just not judging, because there's a reality that to be autism friendly, I think, first and foremost, we want to treat every autistic person like we would anyone else. The last thing we want to do is patronize somebody. But actually, the more radical idea I have is that the only way we can be autism friendly is treat every person as if they're autistic. And what does that mean? That if people communicate a little bit differently, people get confused by some things. If people seem to be doing something that looks a little bit unusual or something we're not used to seeing, instead of jumping to conclusions and saying, God, that person's strange, or that person's so rude, if we just actually said, well, maybe there's a reason for that, and we were a bit more accepting, I think we'd help a lot of autistic people, and I think we'd help a lot of other people in the process as well.
Okay, great. So now I'm going to pass it back to Rose again, who's given us a couple of messages from social media.
Yeah, thanks a lot for that, Adam. This is a question that's come in from David Giles, who's one of our winners from last year. And you've partially answered this already, but he just wants to know that what we can do from our own homes or in our schools to support people with autism and the work of organisations such as I Am.
Thank you. Well, because there's a mention of what can we do in our schools or what can we do in our communities, I'm going to build on one thing. One of the things that's most upsetting in our work at the moment is the volume of emails we're getting from people who are just lonely. People who are telling us, there's a perception out there that maybe because somebody's very quiet, maybe because a person usually sits by themselves, there's sometimes a perception that autistic people don't want to make friends. But actually, our community really wants to make friends, but very often is very isolated. So it's important, if you know someone in school and they're on the spectrum, or indeed they're just sitting always by themselves, never force the person to join your group or sit at your table, because maybe it's too much, but constantly invite the person. And if you're aware of something the person enjoys doing, so maybe they like the Xbox, and maybe they're interested in a particular sports team, try and invite the person to do something around that activity, because that will reduce the person's anxiety and it will give them an opportunity to get to know you.
Great, thanks for that, Adam. We also have a question that's come in, anonymous, and they've asked, how can we get involved and get more towns autism friendly?
Well, yeah, that's a great question. If you go to our website, there's a huge amount of material. So everything from material that you can bring to your school or your local community through to different programs you can book or get involved in. Obviously, things are a little bit strange at the moment because of COVID-19. So a lot of what we're doing is virtual at the moment. We're producing more materials and campaigns than ever before. So if somebody's interested in volunteering, please email info@asiam.ie and we can explore this further with you.
Okay, great. Thanks for that, Adam. And finally, Bennett Broderick has just put in a comment that he's found your speech very inspirational, Adam. So, and he also wondered, how can folks donate to As I Am?
Oh, that's very kind of you. asiam.ie/donate.
That's great. Thank you very much, Adam. And we look forward to bringing you here on site to Pramerica to continue our journey with making our company more autism friendly. So thank you so much. And we'll
congratulations to everyone again, and well deserved.
Thank you, Adam. Okay, so before proceeding to naming the top junior and senior honourers, I would like to take this opportunity to thank those involved in our judging panels. The initial screening panel at Pramerica: Christopher O'Donnell, Claire Kelly, Deirdre Devine, Magilla McHugh and Mary Mulseed. Our judging panel: Jerry Devlin from GTCNI, Tim Garrity, NAPD, Rosemary Russell and Martin Davies from Pramerica. Thank you all for everything that you've done. As I said before, this is the 14th year of the Pramerica Spirit of Community Awards. And in that time, over 4,000 students have been recognised across the island of Ireland. and more than 280 honorees have been recognised at a national level. Finalists were chosen through a very rigorous selection process conducted by the distinguished All-Ireland judging panel. And we had the almost impossible task of selecting the winners. And I can't underestimate how difficult that was. So I would like to take a moment to acknowledge the help and dedication of the following individuals. Nina Arwitz from Volunteer Ireland, Clive Byrne from NAPD, Sean Campbell from Pramerica, Denise Hayward, Volunteer Now, Brendan Morgan, GTC and I. Thank you, everyone. We had incredible volunteers in the junior category. We really did, Rose, didn't we?
Yeah,
it was
absolutely.
very, very difficult. Now we would like to announce the 2 honorees who demonstrated what the judges felt was an exceptional high level of community spirit in the junior category. Both of these honorees will receive an additional €500 for the charity of their choice and a lovely crystal trophy. So from Our Lady's School, County Dublin, Charlotte Callagher.
Thank you.
And you know that yous are all winners, right? And that's why you're here, okay? So our second junior honoree, from St. Louis Community School, County Mayo, Sophia Shalley.
Thank you so much.
Now the senior category. The standard of applications was particularly high, and I really can't describe how difficult it was to select the overall winners. The hard work you put in, the effort you put in, and the enthusiasm of all our honorees was very clear and evident in the amazing stories that you submitted, all of you. Each finalist in this year's programme is an exceptional individual. The All-Ireland Youth Volunteers of the Year for 2020 will receive a Spirit of Community gold medallion and a crystal trophy for their schools. And you'll see the crystal trophies here. The 2 winners will be asked to choose a charity to receive €1,000. And not only that, but in lieu of the cancelled trip to Washington, DC, we are awarding you prize money of €1,000. And now the 2020 All-Ireland Youth Volunteers of the Year. Our first All-Ireland Youth Volunteer of the Year is from St. Angela's College, County Cork, Liadh Hanley. Would you like to say a few words, Leah?
Of course. I don't know if you can see me. I think my camera might be broken. Thank you so much. I'm honestly so shocked I didn't know what to say. Obviously, everybody's a winner. you're all so amazing, and it's so great to get to know you, even though it was virtual. But thank you so much to Pramerica. You've been such a lovely community to get to know, and you've done the event so well today, so that's so amazing. Oh my god, I'm actually shaking, I can't believe it. And obviously thank you to my school for putting me forward for the award, and to my parents because they supported all of my volunteering. I know we don't volunteer for a medal or a prize, but it is lovely to be recognised, and it just motivates you to do so much more, and I know I'll keep volunteering in the future. So thank you so much.
Thank you, Leah. And now moving on. From Louise's Comprehensive School, County Antrim, Aaron Smith. Congratulations, Aaron. Would you like to say a few words?
Oh my God, that's amazing. Thank you so much. I just can't thank everyone enough for giving me the opportunity to do this and to be able to be here. I'm the same. I'm lost for words. It's not often I get recognised for the stuff that I do, so I'd like to thank my school and my family for supporting me through it and just giving me the backing to be able to do that. Everyone here has been absolutely exceptional, and I think that to come out of this with such a high, there were such a high stakes going here, and there were so many amazing people. I'm honestly lost for words, but thank you to everybody, and these are all absolutely fantastic. But just don't stop, just don't stop. These are brilliant. Thank you again.
Thank you, Leah, and thank you, Aaron, and many congratulations. I'm delighted. I would now like to thank everyone who took part in the virtual award ceremony, especially our 2020 Pramerica Spirit of Community finalists. Thank you everyone who helped with our programme and set up the virtual event. We have a Spirit of Community committee, and in addition to those previously called out, we have Andrea, Deirdre, Emer, Elaine, Emma, Gabby, Karina, Lauren, Marina, Mary, Naomi Fisher, Shauna, and to Spencer. Thank you all very, very much, because this can't happen without you. I would also like to give a special thank you to Greg Loader, the VP in Prudential Spirit of Community, and the best of luck, Greg, in your future endeavours. Thanks to David Giles, who was our student ambassador for the 2020 programme. Thank you very much, David. Fabulous working with you. Thanks to Harold Banks from Prudential Global Communications and to Prudential Production for their help. Thank you to Annette Kelly from Little Penny Thoughts yesterday. It was fabulous. Thanks to Shane, Caroline, Grace and Susan from Aiken PR for your help in the programme all year. Thank you so much. To Richard Jolly TV and Switch New Media for their help streaming our event yesterday and today. Thank you all very, very much. And now I'd like to recognise our finalists one last time. I hope that everyone attending our event will leave here with a deeper appreciation of the power of our young volunteers, our future of Ireland. I'm just going to announce the social media competition winner. If you want to say it.
And our winner is, because he went to extreme efforts and put in a lot of effort, and that's Gavin Bennett.
Gavin, to you.
Thank you.
You're welcome. So finally, we leave you with a video of our 2020 Pramerica Spirit of Community honorees. We hope that you enjoyed it, and we thank you for participating. Stay safe and stay well. Thank you so much.
was just a child, my heroes were so real. Together we'd move mountains, that's the way they made me feel. And as I grew, I used their strength to help me stand alone. But now I have the courage to make it on my own. Now it's my turn. You know I've waited for the day when I can be the hero, do or die. So I'll stand firm, no matter what may come my way. I'll be the rock that you can climb to reach the sky. Ooh, yeah. I think of all the people who need to take a stand. I wish I could reach out to them and lend a helping hand and show them that they have the strength to make it through the night, to be the rock that they can climb to reach the highest height. Oh, now it's my turn. You know I've waited for the day when I can be the hero, do or die. So I'll stand firm, no matter what may come my way. I'll be the rock that you can climb to reach the sky. So I'll stand firm, no matter what may come my way. I'll be the rock that you can climb, and I'll be here till the time you need a rock to climb to reach the sky.